Hey guys, please take a seat and we can start. GM Warsaw, my name is Justyna Broniszewska and I would like to welcome you to the next meetup. And I'm really happy to tell you that today's meetup sponsor is Ethereum Foundation and we are part of the road to DevCon, and I hopefully to see you in October in Bogota. Who is going there? Any one of you? Oh, nice. Some of you are, maybe some of you will go as well. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We are today in fourth meetup, and I'm also really happy to tell you that conference and hackathon are in 1 month. Are happening in 1 month. So, and today we'll have big announcement regarding conference and hackathon, so stay tuned. Our agenda for today is we'll have only discussion panel. A discussion panel about health of DeFi, L2 solutions in crypto lending, over and under collateralized lending, and many more. These are our speakers for today. Kaczor from L2B. Piotr Duda from Delta Prime. And Ryan Rodenbaugh from TrueFi. And the discussion panel will be led by Kielczewski from TrueFi. Additional disclaimer, anything you hear today is not financial advice. So keep it in mind. After panel, we'll have beer and pizza and networking. So please enjoy the meetup. If you have any questions or feedback, you can go to our social media or our website. So yeah, I will hand over to Matt. Thank you.
I'm Matt. I work at TrueFi. I'm the head of community there. I want to give away some merch. So I've been traveling a lot these past few months, and I keep getting flagged for heavy baggage. So let's see what I have here. I have a TrueFi Web3 builder. Everything that I have here is mediums, by the way. So please feel free to raise your hand, and I'll give you. There's a dude right here. There you go. Web3 builder. Let's see what else we have here. Who here knows Filecoin? Filecoin? IPFS, anyone? Make some friends in IPFS. There you go, buddy. Let's see what else we got here. Who knows Maverick Protocol? Maverick Protocol. Where's the camera? Maverick, if you guys want to sponsor ETHWarsaw, I know a guy or two. You, medium? Are you a medium? You're a big dude. There you go, man. Wear that to the gym. Get a nice pump. I got a perpetual protocol from Amsterdam with a inspirational cigarette. Here you go, guy. We were just in Paris recently for Divinity. Thanks to our sponsors over at TrueFi for hosting the event. What do I have here? A medium MakerDAO ETHCC Divinity shirt. Who wants Divinity? All the way in the back. Here you go, homie. Ready? Sorry, I never was good at baseball. 1 inch. 1 inch. It's the infamous 1 inch. And the last ETHCC Paris TrueFi. Where? You keep raising. Here you go, dude. Enjoy that. Don't sweat too much in that. The vinyl's really bad on hot days. Cool. So how are we all feeling? How's everyone? We good? Okay. So hopefully I won't get flagged for heavy luggage anymore. So as you all know, everything here is not financial advice. We're just a bunch of nerds talking about zeros and ones. Especially don't listen to me. Hopefully I'll learn what a roll-up is today. ZK knowledge or ZK tech, I learned about that recently. That's me. I have zero knowledge in what's going on here today. So I want to share an announcement. I'm tweeting this right now. So if you guys follow ETHWarsaw, we're selling tickets as of today. I believe it's 100 USD for the tickets. We're giving away 5 tickets to ETHWarsaw. What you need to do is quote retweet the tweet. I just sent it out right now. Your retweets will be judged on tokenomics, security, and scalability. You guys have until next Monday, so add some creative flair into there. Do something fun. It's not a lottery, by the way. We're just doing a giveaway. So yeah, 5 tickets there. Yeah, I think that's it. How about I invite the speakers up? You guys want to come up? So I have Kris. Should I say Kris? Yeah, come through. Kris from L2 Beats. Beats? Clap it up, clap it up. We met each other at Divinity. I just met Marcin in that moment. And that's all that I know about this guy so far. So we're going to talk after, get to know each other a little bit more. Who's next? Ryan, hey, dude. I know this guy. This is Ryan from TrueFi, BD. Clap it up. Who else? There's Piotr Duda from Delta Prime DeFi. Come on up, bud. Clap it up. He's got a pretty serious last name, this guy, so we got to be careful what we say around him. Here, let me give you this, and I'll talk into this thing. Testing. You guys ready? You guys feeling good out there? What do we think about talking about the state of DeFi right now and how things have been? And do we think we're out of a little bit of a contagion, out of a little bit of a downturn here? You guys feeling a little stable? How are things going? Feel free, don't jump all at once.
Does anyone still use DeFi? Does it even exist?
Yeah, is DeFi even around anymore? Let's see. I mean, I think it's still around. I'm using it as I tweet about it.
Yeah. Hi guys. Hi everyone. In my opinion, what happened in the last months was pretty crazy, and mostly because of Terra Luna collapse. And Bitcoin being at 20K, being at 60K, being at 50, it's much like a part of speculation right now. We know that DeFi is connected to traditional markets through investments and so on. So it kind of follows the trends. But a big protocol failing, this crash was something that some people were aware that can happen, but in the middle of that mess, I mean, we've seen that many of the important protocols, they kept up, and they were, even if in adverse market conditions, trustless lending protocols, they were doing well, and even if the TVL goes down, but still it's a lot. I think we are getting stronger and stronger with every push like that we get.
I think it's fair to say that most of the current turmoil that the industry is going through is not as a result of or even in many cases directly tied to what was going on within DeFi. A lot of this current, whatever you want to call it, downturn, bad situation, is generally tied to one, the macro environment of the broader economy. And then 2, the over leverage that was extended through off-chain lending practices. I'm not saying this with 100% confidence, but my sense is that we've probably gotten through the worst of the market right now. Obviously, Nancy Pelosi just landed in Taiwan, so that could, who knows what's going to happen, right? Barring something like that, or barring a, hack on a major protocol, I can say with medium to high confidence that it feels like we're probably through the worst of it. It's not to say that there won't be more bad stuff to come, but probably not as bad as what we saw over the past few months.
Okay, so even though I was introduced as a L2Bit person, I used to work at MakerDAO for many years, and my point of view is very like stablecoin centric and so on. So I actually like bear markets because this is a period of time when bullshit protocols just die out, right? And as Piotr mentioned already, like there was a huge bullshit protocol in the space doing stablecoins, right? And I'm not thinking about Maker. I'm thinking, of course, about Terra, Luna, and many different protocols were also like doing yield farming and so on and so on. And only now, when you go to DeFi Llama or DeFi Pulse, you can see the protocols that are close to having a product market fit. Right, the protocols that are still being used even today when the tokens went down, but the use case is still there, right? Like people are still using them, but there are really just a few of them. Like there are like stablecoin protocols, like money markets, I guess, dexes, and I guess it was still a little bit too early to see many uncollateralized lending protocols, but I think it's a reasonable idea. And more or less that's it. Like many other things just are not that used anymore, I think.
Good.
I was just going to tack onto that and say so much has happened in the past 3 or 4 months, I almost forgot that Terra Luna happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, spot on.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I have to add to that is, there's this downside that's happening, but as someone that works in crypto and, I have a pulse on what's going on out there, like there are people that are still investing. There are people that are still building, and there's people that are innovating and they're building new projects. So, jobs as they end, they also start. And so that's something that I've learned from this recent downturn. Let's talk about DeFi lending real quick. Do you guys want to maybe jump in and describe DeFi lending? Like for me, I've been told that, you take liquidity from the LP's pocket and you put it into your own pocket. So maybe you guys can kind of shed a little bit more. That was a joke, by the way. That's not what we do here. We try to grow money and, keep things liquid. But in terms of DeFi lending, like where are we in that space right now? Are we going to continue building? Feel free to pick that up.
Okay, so maybe I'm just gonna mention that lending in DeFi is like a very broad space, and you can lend on MakerDAO when you don't have a counterparty when you're lending, right? Like your counterparty is the protocol itself. That means like basically a tokenization of your debt, and I personally really like this idea. That's why I was working at MakerDAO. And I really believe that this is one of the true market fits for the blockchains and DeFi, but this is totally different from uncollateralized lending or even the money markets where you have actually counterparts. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think what's really important that DeFi brings into lending space as all is that we have liquidity providers that we don't know, and then that can like really benefit from credits, because credits were all over there in the world, really important for our economy. But like the big guys were making money on credit. So you have your account in a bank, and the yield is really funny low. It's crazy. Like sometimes it's like really close to zero. And here we have a possibility where everyone can lend their money, and they can borrow. And I think what we are fighting for right now in DeFi is the efficiency of the systems, because like we have some like building blocks, like the cornerstones of DeFi lending, but yeah, we know that trustless protocols are over collateralized. It's not that efficient, and to be able to compete with TradFi market and to bring real value to the world, I think the efficiency will be like the next step in evolution.
Yeah, I mean, I guess talking my own book, the idea of how over collateralized or just lending in general works in DeFi today, which is the majority of it, is, I'd say in general, kind of a more crypto native idea, but is much more, how do I say that? Over collateralized lending is not new, but the popularity of it in DeFi as a percent of the total lending market is significantly higher than the traditional lending market in the traditional economy, right? Your credit card, you're essentially a loan, mortgages, et cetera, that said, I mean, I actually think that the thing that this recent credit crunch has proved is that if you are looking for the most trustless types of assumption, the most trustless system, it is the over collateralized lending that came out the best on the other side of this thing. The Aves, the compounds, the MakerDAOs, whatever that might be. Now, I of course work on the other side of that, or the related side of that, which is uncollateralized or under collateralized lending, where someone is being extended money based on credit, financials, traditional things that you might see. And I think the thing that we're trying to figure out right now is within DeFi, how does that best fit in? And the place where we're kind of sitting is we're building the infrastructure so that anyone who wants to run a lending portfolio, create a different strategy, can come to us and do that. And ideally, we can partner with the likes of MakerDAO and so forth to be a source of origination for them, where we can originate high quality, lower risk opportunities that couldn't be native collateral with Maker because they can't post ETH or whatever that might be. And I see it as kind of bridging the gap between what is the existing financial system doing in terms of lending, where crypto is today, and hoping to kind of sit in the middle there as a bridge.
Sweet. Thanks for that, guys. Piotr, this is for you, not only for me, but I think there's also other people in the crowd. So Avalanche, right? DeFi lending in Avalanche. I'm very aware or know about DeFi lending on Ethereum. When did that start for Avalanche? Like for me, the only exposure I've ever had to Avalanche, honestly, is going to an FE of race in Brooklyn and watching the Avalanche car crash, and then they lost. So I ended up not buying any Avalanche because of that. Side note, Algorand won, and I bought myself a bag of that. So yeah, when did that start?
Yeah, I didn't know about the car crash. I hope it wasn't a collateral or anything like that. So Avalanche, like every chain, it has its own kind of atmosphere. Avalanche is really specific. A lot of DeFi, a lot of gamify, I would say. And about the lending, so the Aave is the biggest player there. So yeah, we have traditional Ethereum kind of based protocols that are coming to Avalanche and getting significant liquidity. We have Banky, and soon we're gonna have Delta Prime as well as our protocol, which is under collateralized lending. But I think Avalanche is good kind of trade-off between liquidity and the efficiency of the chain, because it's much cheaper to use, transactions are faster, and still there is enough liquidity that you can bring or create a protocol that has a real use case and kind of doesn't behave crazy because of low liquidity and volatility.
Got it, man. Yeah, for me, I've been doing this professionally for a year and a half, and the deeper I get into different ecosystems and chains, I start to notice that everything has its pros and cons, right? And every ecosystem's at a different progress bar, so to speak. Avalanche doesn't have any NFTs, but Solana, I'm a degen. I get that, Let's switch back to lending. So, good, bad collateral. Can you guys kind of shed some light on that for folks in the crowd?
From our perspective, because we want to be efficient lending protocol. So in the end, what we want to provide and what we have to provide is the safety for depositors for their funds. So something that I would call a bad collateral. It's an asset that we cannot liquidate on time because of crazy volatility or kind of no possibility of liquidation because, for example, liquidity is too low on the centralized exchanges. So I think it ends up on that if it's collateral, is it liquid enough for a protocol to automatically sell it if it's needed?
Got it. So my Mike Piazza Mets baseball card versus my Charizard first edition Pokemon. One is bad, one is good.
Yeah, so for example, if it's Tesla, and if it can drive to the protocol, okay, if you lose it and it can drive automatically to the next owner, that would be a good collateral. But I'm not sure if Elon Musk is already there.
All right, sweet. I've been drilling you. I want to ask the other guys, and we already spoke about this one-on-one before this, but over and under collateralized lending, can you guys shed some light on that a little bit?
I feel like I gave a little bit of an answer in my last answer, but
right.
maybe we in what respect?
I guess yeah. I mean, now that I'm kind of looking at this, I'm like maybe we did cover that. Do you have any?
Maybe for the audience would be useful to just hear 101 on TrueFi, and sure. I guess I can do 101 on MakerDAO later. So.
Okay, perfect.
Sweet.
Good comparison. So our protocol TrueFi is trying to move away from that term uncollateralized, but credit-based lending protocol. And the idea is that our borrowers, which are institutions, are able to come to TrueFi and essentially apply for a loan. So it is a different process than if you go to something like a MakerDAO, where anyone that posts collateral can take out a loan. In our case, a borrower, for example, an Alameda, a Wintermute, any of these kind of large crypto trading firms, for example, can come to us, basically fill out an application, complete some processes, and then we'll speak to a credit underwriter, essentially, that manages one of our pools. The underwriter will take a look at their financials, so on and so forth, and if they think that they're creditworthy, they'll offer them loan terms. So they might say you can borrow $5 million for 3 months at a 10% rate. Now, that process of assigning credit all happens off-chain. The process that happens on-chain is the actual origination or the funding, the origination, the dispersal, and repayment of the loans. And so it's kind of a hybrid approach, between what something like a MakerDAO looks like that's completely on-chain and what something looks like a BlockFi looks like that is completely off-chain. So the way that we really think about it is TrueFi is a protocol where today the majority of lending that's happened is uncollateralized. Going forward, there will be option for, say, partial collateral. There will be different products for variable rate and open term loans and all kinds of different things. And ultimately, we want to get to a place where we're just the best infrastructure for whatever kind of lending that you'd like to participate in.
Okay, so as for MakerDAO, as it was mentioned, it's everything that I'm going to tell you about happens on-chain. So MakerDAO is this magical protocol that you can approach with a good collateral. I'm going to define good later, but with some kind of collateral, for example, Ether, and mint a stablecoin worth $1 called DAI in return. And of course, you can mint only less value than your collateral. It's over collateralized. But why would you do that? Once you hold DAI, you can, for example, buy more Ether for this stablecoin and repeat the whole process again. So thanks to this, we just did leverage in a fully decentralized manner. Of course, this all only works when there's a demand for your stablecoin. That's why actually creating a stablecoin producing protocol is so difficult. It's not about technical aspects. Writing such smart contract is rather easy. The more difficult problem is to solve is the demand problem for your stablecoin. So basically, people need to trust that your stablecoin will hold a dollar peg. And of course, there's also trust in your tech and so on. But basically, it's a trust-based game. Like if people don't believe in that, then you will have all sorts of problems with a peg. Either you're gonna probably you're gonna be off peg by below the peg. That's more or less what happened with Terra Luna, and yeah, and Maker, and when speaking about collaterals, of course, we need to have oracles for the collaterals. So basically, trust-based system with actors that are just gonna tell us what's the value of the collateral that you're coming with, and that's why, and as it was mentioned here also before, like the collateral, to be good collateral has to be liquid. There has to be a lot of liquidity, both on dexes, on sexes, and so on, to be able to liquidate positions when when it goes underwater. And that's why with Maker, Maker believes that there's only like 3 or 4 good collaterals out there in the whole blockchain space, in the whole Ethereum space at least. It's Ether, it's WBTC, and probably a native tokens of every single rollup that you're gonna deploy to. Or sidechain, whatever. Like, something like Link or, I don't know, 0x was at one point in time was the collateral for MakerDAO. But it's very illiquid token, and there's also not that much demand for leverage for stuff like this. And just to finish up, this is where the so-called D3M modules come into play, where MakerDAO can inject liquidity to different protocols, like for example TrueFi, and just delegate the whole credit risk assessment and so on to a different protocol. I believe there's going to be a really good presentation about this during ETHWarsaw conference, so keep your eyes on it.
Sick.
Maybe I can like jump quickly and
Please.
yeah thanks, and introduce our protocol, because I think we are like kind of in the middle of that, because what we want to create is like more capital efficient lending, but with some restrictions. So the way it works, like instead of like normally when you come to a lending protocol, you just use your MetaMask account and you put your collateral, and then you borrow and it goes to your MetaMask wallet, so like your Ledger wallet. In our case, we put in the middle a smart contract. So for every user, there is one smart contract deployed to the network, and the borrowed funds as well as collateral, they all go to the smart contract. And the user has an API that we provide to contact the smart contract and perform actions. So if we connect a decentralized exchange, we have something like cross-margin account. If we connect yield farming protocols, or like we give ability to provide liquidity, then we have like DeFi kind of prime brokerage. And like we believe like once we will scale, if it will be more and more like pure lending, so we will like cover like all like DeFi ecosystem that is there, and like all the most important protocols that the users will feel okay. So actually it's not that restricted, because everything I would like to do in DeFi I can do with that protocol. So it's a kind of a trade-off. Between like the security of the protocol, which we ensure by providing integrations ourselves, but on the other hand, we have like all the possibilities, like so we call it like a walled garden of DeFi that you can like farm your tokens on, but it's walled, but it's garden, so you can do a lot in that.
You guys are really smart. This has been amazing to sit here and listen to you guys. Ryan, do you have anything to add here?
I actually had a follow-up question for Kris after the explanation.
That
on MakerDAO, which is, so certainly on TrueFi, right? We've done 1.7 billion in loan originations. 98% of that has been to crypto trading firms, which are essentially using it as a form of leverage. Within MakerDAO, you touched on the deposit ETH, to borrow DAI, to get more leverage, I guess one, and I actually don't know this, but what percentage of MakerDAO DAI borrowing do you think correlates to firms looking for leverage? And then two, what do you think actually about some of the stuff MakerDAO has been doing to expand beyond that? Maybe we can use that to transition to real world assets even.
Yeah, I reminded myself that shit, I forgot to even mention real world assets, which are like the most important things in the whole space. Yeah. But anyway, so why are people using the Maker? So actually, so first of all, Maker is the biggest DeFi protocol right now, and it was the biggest. It was the first, and it's still the biggest DeFi protocol. So there's clearly something good that Maker is doing, and many protocols, many projects, many companies that went under recently were using Maker, like Celsius or Nexo. Actually, Nexo didn't have any problems with paying the debt, but Nexo is also kind of similar company. And the thing is that despite these companies, stopping withdrawals for their users and having a lot of FUD on Twitter, they paid back their debt to the protocol because they had. If they wouldn't, they would get liquidated, and there's no mercy. Like smart contracts don't know mercy. Of course, there are some limits how the liquidation happens, and there are some stop gaps and so on. But they would get liquidated, so that's why they paid back their debt. And the funny thing is that they are not really good at like companies like Celsius. They are centralized finance, and they are not really good at interacting with smart contracts if they don't have UI. So what they did is actually they used one of the UIs for MakerDAO protocol, and they paid like hundreds of thousands in fees just to click the button on the UI because the UI charged them for that. So so they even had money for that. So I guess the situation wasn't that critical. But other than that, I guess that really Maker is right now used mostly for leverage. Also, you have this ability to turn illiquid thing into a liquid thing, but then if it's illiquid, we wouldn't take it as a collateral. And there's, as Ryan mentioned, there's like this huge space of real-world assets. So as I mentioned before, there's just not enough good collateral on-chain. There's only such amount of Ether and WBTC and staked ETH that it's on-chain and that people are willing to gamble with, take leverage with. And that's why there's, and we have the whole world of reward finance, right? Like mortgages and so on and so on. So Maker is trying to tap into that market, but I guess this is going to be the next question, so I'm not gonna front run the MC.
Yeah, I mean, it's been it's nice to sit here and just listen. So I feel like I'm part of the audience, but I just can chime in every now and then. Ryan, feel free to jump in. I know you wanted to talk about RWAs now.
No, I have nothing.
Yeah, cool.
Oh,
so,
you want me to? Or,
no, I mean,
you take it, please.
So, I mean, look, personally, selfishly, I want to shift at some point into L2 solutions in crypto lending. I feel pretty good about the real world asset coverage, but if you want to finish your thought with that follow-up question, or if Avalanche is doing anything with real world assets, I don't know. Please, jump in and let me know.
I'm not aware of that, but I think it's gonna definitely Avalanche will follow.
Yeah, that makes sense with the whole ecosystem thing that we were talking about earlier. So L2 solutions, right? So TrueFi, we just launched recently on Optimism. So just for anyone here that knows or doesn't know about Optimism, it's a layer 2 solution that is more efficient, less gas, faster, allegedly, and I'm kidding. It is. I've used it. We're actually TrueFi just launched an NFT So just like alpha drop for you guys last Friday on Optimism through this company that I'm repping right here, Project Galaxy. Huge shout out to these guys. I can't rep them enough. We've gained over close to 30,000 Twitter followers in the last 72 hours just from launching this NFT. And yeah, man, it's been a really intense weekend, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy I made it to Warsaw. Everything's great. Life's great. But yeah, huge shout out to Project Galaxy for getting us set up on this. Huge shout out to Properly and Natalia, wherever you are in the crowd. Thank you for connecting us with Properly, your homies over there. That they created this animation for us that is essentially the TrueFi logo. It has water flowing through it that represents the liquidity that we have in the protocol. And being that it's on Optimism, we ended up fronting the money to make this a free mint. So you guys are more than welcome if you have Optimism set up in your MetaMasks. We also have walkthroughs. If you don't know how to do this, you can just jump into TrueFiDAO on Twitter and you'll see all of this stuff. So yeah, free mint. It costs like 20 cents, but because it's on Optimism. But you do that like 100,000 times, it costs like a couple $1,000s. So yeah, L2 solutions. That's my perspective as a community dude. And in terms of lending, how do you guys think that's going to impact our worlds here?
One of the biggest challenges we've had on Ethereum L1 is just that. So I got to check this stat, but I keep saying this without actually knowing the numbers. But I think something like roughly 80 or 90% of deposits in our protocol are over $1 million. So it's very institutional focused on the LP side. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. But one of the reasons is certainly that if you deposited $1,000 into our pool today, you might pay, I don't know, $20 to $100 in fees, depending what the market looks like. And you basically just, destroyed the interest that you were going to try and generate over the next year. And so, being on ETHL1 is kind of prohibitive to smaller lenders. And I think one of the things we're excited about Optimism and other L2s and alternative L1s we're looking at is just the opportunity to open up to a longer tail user base where they can make smaller deposits. And hopefully that will enable new use cases and connections with maybe neobanks or whatever that might be. But I think some of those things that we haven't really yet had the chance to explore.
Yeah, so maybe I'll take a step back and try to explain really quickly, what's the deal with layer 2s and so on. So basically scalability is some kind of a spectrum, right? And you can either get fast and cheap transaction, but less secure, right? Or you pay a lot for transactions, but you get like a security of the whole layer 1, of the whole Ethereum, right? So the layer 2s try to solve this by doing cheap and fast and secure transactions. Of course, they are not doing it right now, but that's the vision. And now to answer the question, I think MakerDAO is in a pretty similar solution place than as TrueFi. Whereas the people minting DAI, they're not small fish, but rather like a big institutional clients. So also they are not that scared of the high fees on Ethereum. They would much prefer to have like a high security that gives them Ethereum blockchain. But on the other hand, the users of DAI, they are most likely small holders just trying to hedge the crypto risks, right? So that's why DAI is available on both Optimism and Arbitrum layer 2s and even the Starknet. So you can use DAI there, but you cannot mint DAI there. But MakerDAO is working on bringing the DAI minting facilities on these chains, but this is not the top priority. What's much more important is to have an ability to quickly move between the domains, for example, the stablecoin. And this also in works, actually this is pretty interesting topic, but I guess it's for a different discussion.
And since I am considered kind of an Avalanche guy here, maybe a couple of words about Avalanche, because like this is just like for us it's a place to start, but the technology behind it actually it's in my opinion pretty smart. So Avalanche actually consists of 3 chains. There is a transaction chain just to send AVAX to another person, super cheap, like couple of cents or less than a cent. Then there is a C chain, which is a smart contract chain, which is like more efficient than Ethereum, but still has some limitations. But it's really fast. And there is a third chain. And the third chain, it serves a purpose of connecting other chains. So, for example, on AVAX, there is a new fancy game coming up, and the network becomes blocked. Then, if they want, they can create their chain and like with their validators and so on, and they can connect to the third chain, being in the all Avalanche ecosystem. So. Of course, it's not layer 2, it's all like kind of layer 1, but this is like a different approach. And from our perspective, if we were to deploy to Ethereum right now, that wouldn't be the easiest choice for us, based on like for example, the number of transactions in the blocks when we need like fast liquidations or just transaction costs, of course. So we would definitely look more into L2, and that's what we are looking for right now. And yeah, let's hope that the merge will be successful, and still we'll be just talking about L1s. No, it's not going to be that easy. But yeah, I think we are getting to the good point, like with Ethereum as well.
Sweet, thanks for that. Yeah, Avalanche. I don't know much about it. I used it once, transferred some ETH over there, invested in a project called Snowbank. I don't know if you know about it. It ended up being a rug. So that money went bye-bye. But it was cool. The APY was like off the screen. And there was actually like a calculator on the bottom of the screen that told me how long I had to wait until I was able to purchase a Lambo. So I like kind of full sent on that. And maybe like 13 days later, there was no money in the pool. But look, other than that, it was great.
Did it update the Lambo calculator after it took your money?
Yeah, the Lambo calculator definitely turned from a days thing to like a years thing. So
maybe it was the Lambo for the holder of multisig, not for you.
Yeah, maybe I got. I think that's what happened there. I want to be respectful of our time. We started about like 10 after. Guys in the crowd, how are we feeling? You guys having a good time? Do you feel engaged? Are you sleepy? Should we wrap it up? Do you want to do Q&A? I know it's been really funny listening to me all this hour, but I'd love to, if you guys are feeling good, if you want to see if we can welcome some questions from the crowd. Yeah?
Please.
So don't all get up at once. But we're more than happy to get some... how are we doing this, by the way? Oh, nice. You got a little thing there. Yeah, so there's a button in the middle. Yeah, it says push. Yeah, you just push it. You don't have to hold it. Yeah.
I just did. Okay,
nice.
So anyway, the question is, given the existence of the Pareto Principle, which says that most assets are in a small group of people, okay? Why, and this is going to be controversial, why even care about the small people when designing lending protocols? Why not just focus on ETH? Why not just say, okay, these are the whales, they are on Ethereum, they have the money, we don't care about small people. What's your reasoning for, thinking about us?
I think Wall Street takes good care of big people, and in DeFi we are thinking about everyone. Like, okay, this is like simplification, but I think like DeFi creates a great spectrum of possibilities to include everyone, and that's kind of what we are fighting for. So even if like the big whales, they make the biggest moves, like the others can follow and like get their little APY as well. So I think we can like benefit everyone.
Yeah, don't buy Snowbank.
Snowbank excluded.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about paying one day with your Dogecoin in Żabka, then I guess we need to solve all these issues, right?
I was just gonna say it's a good question, and like from a business perspective, on the surface level, you're basically absolutely right, and like the work we've done so far has mostly been focused on big institutions. That said, I do think that there is something to be said about having the long tail of users. Just one in terms of general awareness of the protocol. I would say like overall the space that I'm in, this credit-based or uncollateralized lending space, has far less awareness than other parts of DeFi because of the dynamic you mentioned, which is that most smaller users don't actually ever interact with our protocol or our competitor's protocol. Like if you look at the number of, just as an Etherscan metric, number of token holders of our token versus like, Maker's a bad example, but like other DeFi tokens, it's lower just because there's lower awareness. And so I do actually think that like having this longer tail of users creates some more network effect, creates more awareness, and hopefully grows the protocol.
How was that? Was that good?
Well, it has to suffice.
Yeah.
No,
For
no.
now, right?
It was great. It was great. I'm joking.
Yeah. No, but I hear, to feed off of what Ryan's saying, it's like this is like the beginning, right? And we're all super early, and you know it takes time to build things, and I don't think that there's like plumbing created to like make it ready for the little guys, us, you know, that are all sitting here talking about this stuff. Anyone else? Questions in the back? Yo, you got a little microphone to your left over there. You see that? No, to your left, not my left. Yeah, you. Yeah, right there, bro. There's a thing. Yeah, push that little push button.
So yeah, after Luna crash and her UST, you know, all that stuff. I think that the DeFi perception of what is good protocol has changed. And my question is whether you agree with it, and I assume that you will agree with it. And if you will, then what do you think, how the perception of the good DeFi protocol will change? What will be the qualities? What will be the features? You know, what's define a good DeFi protocol right now after Luna, Anhor, all that stuff?
I believe it's gonna be trust, because like many people were making pretty good money on Luna, Terra Luna. The system was pretty good, well designed for good market conditions, but wasn't well designed for adverse market conditions, and it failed. I lost my AirPods today, and I found them again, and then now they are lost again. Yeah, but anyway, like coming to a conclusion, I think DeFi lost trust in the eyes of many people, and with every big protocol that fails, will go a step back. So we have to learn our lesson and look more in like have a long-term view, not just focus on like getting super high APYs with Snowbank protocol. And this is what we're gonna be fighting for in the next years, to regain this trust in the space, that we are not doing crazy stuff, that we know what we are doing, and it's sustainable.
Okay, so I have a little bit different take, and basically there's a in nature there's a niche that retail has to take, and this is just a niche of being a less knowledgeable, less advanced actor in the ecosystem. And this means basically that, you know, even though like retail thinks that Celsius was DeFi, right? Which is not true. But Celsius also branded themselves as DeFi, right? Like, was Terra DeFi? Like, I don't know. Like, probably yes, but also like there were, you know, multi-sigs everywhere. There were like, you know, lots of funds held by the treasury and so on and so on. And where I'm getting with it is that retail won't, I mean retail, like there will be newcomers next cycle that won't remember about any of it. And it's gonna happen exactly the same. Like, you know, there will be people that are risk aversive and they won't lose 90% of their wealth. And there will be, you know, degens that are just there to lose their money. And I think this is expected. Like next cycle, I guarantee you that there will be protocols like Terra, Luna again.
Yeah, I think like if you stay in crypto, I've been interested in crypto, Bitcoin, the space since 2017, and a lot of the stuff that happened this past year reminds me of like the ICO boom in 2018. It reminds me of the massive downturn that happened, and I feel like it's just going to continue. Like it's like you have this massive upheaval of like these followers that we have on Twitter right now. I'm assuming that we're going to lose 40% of them over the next like few months after we wrap up this NFT campaign. After that, it's like, how do you capture their attention and drive engagement, right? And like drive education. So in ways, I'm kind of experiencing that in a smaller ecosystem, i.e. our Twitter community and our Discord community. But when you scale that out to crypto at mass, I mean, the same thing is happening. And also over like years versus just a few weeks, right? Moss? No Moss? Any dude in the back with the hat? What's up? Yeah.
I just speak.
Sure, speak.
What are you guys the most excited about this year that either you're working on or someone else is working on?
So the question was, so that the recording captures it. No worries, brother. What are you guys excited about this year? Was that what you said? This year? And what are, yeah.
What are you the most excited about that you're working on this year or that someone else is?
Exactly what he said.
Okay, I'll go first because I'm very excited.
Hell yeah.
I'm very excited for first properly decentralized layer 2s. So right now, as I already mentioned, like Optimus, Arbitrum, all of these systems have a lot of multi-sigs. They have not working fraud proofs. And like I hope that this year we're going to see more decentralization happening in this space. And maybe other than merge, the dunk sharding is going to happen. Proto-dunk sharding, which means that rollups are getting even more cheap. Like there will be like I think more than 10x cheaper after this hard fork of Ethereum main chain, and I think this is gonna happen in a year, so in less than a year. So
sounds dope. Piotr?
Yeah, definitely. I am super excited about what we are building, but it's self-explanatory. Yeah, apart from that, I think like the space right now, it checks the possibility, for example, of using NFTs as collateral and some kind of and connecting NFTs to real-world assets. So I am really waiting for a moment when it like the market becomes liquid enough that like our protocols can step in and use them, and I think it's gonna be a really big step to connect DeFi, connect all of that happens in the blockchain to the world.
One that I'm not necessarily excited about but interested in is all of these new layer ones that are coming out of Facebook with their, the closing down of Libra, DM, that whole thing. Basically, 3 layer ones have, raised funding in the past couple weeks. There's Aptos, Sui, and Linear, or something like that. All using this new programming language called Move. I'm not an engineer myself, but what I've read on mostly Twitter from other engineers, that it seems to be a pretty impressive language in terms of like readability and ability to code in it. And so I'm actually very interested what the outcome of that will be. And a fun fact is just that Andreessen Horowitz has backed all 3 of these layer ones, which I find comical. But
bang, it's my guy.
I have something else, but you want to.
Yeah, I'm also bullish on Move. I think it's a reasonable designed language. And like even today, Nomad got hacked by a stupid smart contract bug.
What was
Like,
it? 150 million?
Yeah,
Gone.
so pretty small amount in comparison to different hacks.
It
but
is
still-
not a lot of money.
No, not at all. No, just kidding. But basically, like, you know, the need for better smart contracts is a smart contract language is real. And as I said somewhere on Twitter, you can fact check that. But I believe that layer 2s are gonna mark the beginning of end EVM compatible chains. Like, this is gonna be experimentation ground for new virtual machines, new languages, and so on and so on. And I totally don't believe that Solidity is JavaScript of of our times. Just to finish this thought.
More like Java to me than JavaScript, to be honest.
Or probably like Fortran or something that you don't even remember that exists.
Interesting. Controversial.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say that I'm very excited about personally, just to shout out MakerDAO here, is, you know, MakerDAO, Frax, you know, other projects like that, all of the stuff that they're starting to do around real-world asset lending, you know, via the D3M, which is the direct deposit module, or, you know, MIP6 and all the other programs. I think when we talk with traditional institutions, and this is almost like too much context for this question, but we're like conditionally approved for $100 million D3M through MakerDAO. Like, but when we talk to institutions, they find that very interesting because MakerDAO has different cost of capital assumptions than other lenders within crypto. And so I think one of the things that gets thrown around a lot is that, you know, hand wavy is that, you know, crypto lending is going to alter the cost of capital globally. And my response, just very honestly, often is no, it's not. Like, crypto people demand a higher return. However, lenders like MakerDAO and the ability to put these things into senior and junior tranches, I actually think does have the potential to fundamentally change some of these risk-return profiles and cost of capital. And so that's one of the things I'm personally most excited about.
Nice. We've heard a lot from this side of the room. Łukasz, I don't want to neg you, but I do want to offer... maybe we can squeeze you in. We got 709 guy in the... Dali, we're good? All right. Yeah, push the little push button.
Okay, so can you share your thoughts about flash loans within the DeFi space?
Don't look at them. I'm just a dude that sits here. But yeah, what do you guys flash loans DeFi space?
My 30 seconds on it is that it's like, you know, that like chaotic neutral, chaotic blah blah blah. You know, this is like maybe it started as chaotic neutral and it's been co-opted by like chaotic evil. But personally, I find it to be one of the most interesting, just like things that couldn't exist without crypto. And you know, I have a friend who like does a lot of this trading using that kind of stuff. And I mean, to him, I describe it as alchemy. It's like you had $10, you borrowed somehow $1 million, and now you have $15, and you paid back that other thing with like 10 cents of interest. Actual alchemy. So.
Yeah, I mean, flash loans are just. So when they exist, when they were created initially, they just simulating a whale on chain. Right, the capital need to be borrowed. Like, I think Aave was the first protocol, or DYDX doing flash loans. So it's not like the capital was created out of thin air. Like, the whale could do exactly the same thing as, you know, flash loan did. Right, like these days we have more efficient approaches. Like, for example, MakerDAO allows to mint a DAI in a single transaction out of thin air. So I think there's like a limit there, but it's still like a couple of billion of dollars, I think. So I guess probably it's harder to find a way like this, but still easy. They exist. So basically, I think flash loans are just healthy for the ecosystem because they exploit many inefficiencies in the market, and anyone can do that, not only whales. So I think it's very like democratizing access to the capital in some sense, to the arbitrage at least.
Yeah, I would just add that we need more of things like that in DeFi. Like, I mean, you cannot go to a bank, immediately get $1 million and repay it the same second, and it's pretty obvious why. But I think it shows like what DeFi can bring once we start figuring out more and more things like approaches. So it shows that like in DeFi ecosystem you can do stuff that we already know is not possible in TradFi, and like with time more and more solutions like that will come.
Okay, but maybe some of you like create like a flash loan by yourself or something. So any one of you got some experience in that?
Yeah, I think I used once the MakerDAO's infrastructure to create flash loans. Yeah.
Okay, so you like create a contract in Solidity and what? Like additional bot to like use it, or how is that?
I mean, it's. I guess you can ask us after the panel, but basically, you need to wrap it in a single transaction. So either it executes entirely, and you pay back the debt and then make some money on the side, or you didn't, and then the whole thing reverts and you pay transaction costs. So so basically, the virtual machine of the blockchain ensures that the atomicity of the whole thing. Yes, there are like. Yeah, we can talk about it after the.
I will just quickly add that actually we are using flash loans as a part of our liquidation mechanism. So one can use like one of our liquidation bots. That basically what it does, it borrows money from Aave through flash loan to liquidate a position and then repay it back, like doing all the swaps in the middle. So this is like one of the use cases. Or arbitrage and other things that people will come up with.
Okay. Good. Left side.
My question is if fractional reserve system is used, and if not, are there any plans for it?
Okay, so MakerDAO has like reserves, and I mean, I don't know where you're heading with this question, because in the MakerDAO it works in the way that your loans are collateralized first, right? But then if the system takes loss, there's also some fractional reserve, right? So of course it's not 100% of the TVL of the system, but it's like I think 2 or 3. Thanks to this, when there's like I don't know, some fuck up during liquidation process, then the system still is like properly collateralized, right?
Yeah, it's similar at ours. So basically, using transaction fees, success fees, and so on, we collect the money to our reserve, and if there is any event which ended up with unsuccessful liquidations, like not on time, they were unprofitable, then the reserve covers the losses.
And I think it's important to note that the reserve cannot be in your native token, because this is a Terra Luna situation then, right?
All right. I think we're gonna let Łukasz say a question here.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Right. So you've touched a bit, on the reward assets, and obviously, we know that you can actually tokenize anything and present its value on the blockchain. But with reward assets, the biggest issue is when there is a default and actual liquidity of an asset. So how do you think that's going to get resolved in the lending space?
That's a very challenging question.
I know. I didn't promise it's going to be easy.
Basically, MakerDAO is going to own thousands of individual automobiles when they have to collect on a defaulted loan. No, I think again.
Next divinity in your house because it was mortgaged.
Exactly. No, again, I think MakerDAO is again at the forefront of this, and I'm not going to try and summarize the 1,000 pages written on Societe Generale and Huntington Valley Bank, but I think the summary would be there is a reliance on off-chain fiduciaries, trusts, and many of the existing legal structures we've seen to liquidate collect collateral, liquidate assets, turn that back into cash, and then turn that back into something that MakerDAO can accept. And so it's kind of just a somewhat slow liquidation process using off-chain structures to eventually get it back into an asset that the blockchain can take. Oversimplification for sure, but
Yeah, so I think a main issue is still that there's no jurisdiction that would recognize something as DAO, right? Like I think there's one state in US doing that, but it's like not really working. So you need to operate, within already existing legal system. And I'm not a lawyer, I don't know the details, but somehow they made it work more or less, right? Like it's for sure there's a lot of trust in the boomer fi.
So, sorry to interrupt you. So, but put aside legal stuff. I'm talking what Ryan just mentioned. Yes, there are off-chain solutions, and you can take legal action and stuff like that. But obviously, what we've seen in DeFi is the instant liquidation if it needs be. That's what it's been. With the over-collateralized loans, and obviously, even with the under-collateralized and uncollateralized loans, everything happens in the blockchain at an instant. So yeah, just how do you think from the technological perspective how we can implement that?
I mean, from technical point of view, it's just a black box on chain. Like none of these things happen on chain, right? So that's simple actually. I mean, there are some parts of liquidation process, but I remember it's totally different, totally weird totally different from all other collaterals, and basically it can be probably designed in many other ways. Like the legal structure, dictates really the technical details here.
Yeah, I think we can kind of separate what happens, like liquidation on the blockchain itself, which will be pretty instant, and then all the process of liquidating the asset, whether it's a house or Tesla or one Bitcoin. So if it's like a DeFi asset, if it's like just a token, then it can be probably immediately liquidated. So what is gonna be like a big challenge for lending protocols is to assess the risk, long-term risk of selling, liquidating assets, and make the system, which is sustainable long-term, being able to liquidate someone, taking the ownership of some asset, which can be worthwhile, a kind of worth asset, and then be able to sell it even after a couple of days, for example, and then get the money back to the system and stay above the water. So someone who solves that is gonna be the next Elon Musk.
Hey Matt, I have a question from our audience from the live streaming.
No way.
Yeah.
Let's go.
One of our 8 viewers has a question. Legal Tech. What is your opinion of arbitration systems such as Kleros or Aragon Court?
I got burned by Kleros at the top, so maybe I'll refrain from my view. But interesting, novel ideas. I'd asked our lawyer actually about Kleros once because there was a chance for us to kind of use it within TrueFi and how we handle arbitration and things. And what he had actually said to me was like, until this has actually been tested in a meat space court of law, it's hard to put much guarantee on it.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyone else from the internet want to talk to us? Yo, what's up, man, with the medium shirt? Let's hear it.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on the merge and maybe something that people underestimate or doesn't really talk about? What do you think as a builders?
I'm for it.
Yeah, kind of can't wait. I mean, coming from super fast Avalanche and super cheap, I mean, I would love to see it in Ethereum, but let's take step by step. And I think it's really important step to unlock this all liquidity which is in Ethereum ecosystem, but kind of due to inefficiency of the chain, blocks the possible usages. So long term, I think it will really influence the DeFi space because it will give a higher momentum for all the changes and new protocols that we need.
Okay, so first of all, to clarify again that merge is not doing anything to solve scalability issues of the Ethereum, right? The only thing that it does is moving Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake, and this is rather the economic change for the whole space, right? Like suddenly you have a second biggest blockchain on POS, where instead of basically slowly diluting their holders to death, they're the chain deflates its currency, right? Especially with EIP 159 and so on and so on. So I think that that's what makes people like excited first of all, because their bugs are gonna be pumped, and this is the important thing, obviously. No, just kidding. But yeah, I guess that's really what's at stake here, right? Like POS migration, and then on the flip side, you have all the issues that could happen during the merge. Like first of all, the transition itself is very non-trivial, and there might be attacks happening there which would prevent the chain from finalizing. And you can read about them. I think it's called rebalance attacks, and honestly I'm not an expert in all of that, but also once it's merged, there are also some problems with the new consensus. Like for example, there was this famous deep reorg that happened on a testnet a few weeks ago, so cut long story short, there are some open, I think, questions, and there are actually some I forgot the name of the guy, but there was a good talk about this on I think in Amsterdam in one of the DevConnex conferences about the issues with the Ethereum new consensus. But yeah, I'm not an expert, so you need to look it up. But I think it's not like as seamless upgrade as most people on Twitter think.
Yeah, I've heard that. This has been an hour and 10-15 minutes. I'm feeling good about wrapping this up. Crowd, how do you guys feel? Internet, I'm sure you're still sitting there, but you guys hungry? You guys want to talk? You want to schmooze? I see some blank faces. That's cool. I guess no response means yes. How are you guys feeling? You want to wrap up?
I've drank this entire beer, and I really need to use the bathroom. So,
let's give a round of applause to our humans here. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting up here with you guys. I'm really proud of meeting you two, especially. Looking forward to getting to know you guys. Guys, this is our last ETHWarsaw meetup before the actual event. Please meet each other, be kind to each other, exchange contact information. We have a...
Hello. Guys, just a quick reminder about, the giveaway that we're doing. So there are 5 tickets up for grabs. The only thing you need to do...
We need the help. Please talk to anyone from the ETHWarsaw team.
Yes, yeah, we're looking for volunteers in exchange for free conference tickets. So if anyone's interested, just find us here and happy to talk.